7200A PrecisionCut, the 7400A and 8800A TerrainCut mowers are designed to provide a quality cut on both undulating and flat terrain. In this operator video, we'll show you how to operate all three models correctly and safely. Remember, you are responsible for your own safety and the safety of those around you. Safety should be the first thing you think of when operating any machine on the golf course. Always wear your seatbelt low and snug when operating the 7200A, 7400A, and 8800A. Since we won't cover everything in this video that you need to know, be sure to read the printed operator's manual before mowing. The operator's manual is available in Spanish, and this DVD contains a Spanish version of this video. Contact your dealer if you need an operator's manual in another language. We'll start with a look at the operating controls and features. Always use the steps provided to enter and exit the operator station of the machine. Be sure to fasten your seatbelt before operating the mower. The comfortable seat has standard armrests, a fore and aft adjustment to accommodate different sized operators, an adjustment for operator weight, an adjustment to raise and lower the optional air ride seat on the 8800A, and a seat back and lumbar support adjustment. All important controls, including the tech control display, are located on the command arm within convenient viewing and reach of your right hand as you sit in the seat. The tech control display will show you the engine temperature and fuel level of the machine on the 7400A and 8800A, and the fuel level and machine hours on the 7200A. It will also notify you if there are problems with your machine. If the hydraulic oil temperature icon illuminates, stop the machine, turn off the cutting units, and let the engine idle to cool the hydraulic oil. If the engine oil pressure icon illuminates, shut off the engine to avoid serious damage. If the engine coolant temperature icon illuminates, let the engine idle to cool down. If the battery icon illuminates, the alternator is not producing enough current. Stop the engine and consult your technician. The rest of the controls include the mow transport switch, brake switch, the lift lower lever, and the ignition switch. The 7200A also has a throttle lever. The 8800A has a light switch. And on the 7200A and 7400A, there's also the width on demand switch, cutting unit extend retract switch, and the cutting unit select switch. Push the mow transport switch to the right to engage the cutting units, and to the left to disengage them. To use the raise lower lever, simply push and release the lever forward to lower the cutting units, and pull the lever back to raise them. On the 7200A, push the throttle lever forward to increase engine speed, and back to decrease engine speed. When the mow transport switch is in the mow position, the cutting units will engage when you lower them. When the mow transport switch is in transport, the cutting units will lower but will not engage. When the mow transport switch is in the mow position on the 7400A and 8800A, the engine RPM automatically goes to full throttle. On the 7200A and 7400A trim mowers, you can change your width of cut. Toggle the width on demand switch to the right to move the front cutting units to the maximum width of cut. Toggle the width on demand switch to the left to decrease the cutting width to the minimum width of cut. You can adjust the width of cut with the cutting units either raised or lowered. The minimum width of cut gives you maximum cutting unit overlap for mowing in tight areas where a lot of turning is needed. The maximum 72-inch width of cut on the 7200A and 74-inch width of cut on the 7400A decreases your overlap and gives you the width needed for productive mowing of open areas where less turning is required. The reach trimming feature on the 7200A and 7400A lets you shift one of the front cutting units out for fast and easy trimming around bunkers and other obstacles. It is similar to selecting the electric mirrors on an automobile. With the cutting units lowered, use the select switch to choose the cutting unit you want to extend. Then push the extend retract switch in the direction you want the cutting unit to move. The longer you engage the extend retract switch, the further out the cutting unit will shift until the cylinder reaches its full stroke. Moving the select switch to neutral or the opposite cutting unit position will automatically return the cutting unit to the normal mowing position. The cutting units will also retract automatically when you raise them. On the right side floorboard are the foot control pedals for the E-Hydro. Press the left pedal to go forward. Press the right pedal to reverse. The 7400A and 8800A mowers feature auto pedal. With auto pedal, you control the forward and reverse direction and the engine RPM just like in an automobile. The red brake switch on the command arm controls the hydraulic internal wet disc brakes. The brakes engage automatically when the machine is not running. When the machine is running, push the park brake switch to the left position to engage the brakes. Push the switch to the right position to release the brakes. On the bottom left side of the steering column is the steering column tilt control. Using your left foot, depress the lever and adjust the steering column to a comfortable position. Then release the control to lock the steering column. The 7200A, 7400A, and 8800A have a standard two-post ROPS or rollover protection structure. Always wear your seatbelt low and snug when operating the 7200A, 7400A, and 8800A to help minimize your chances of injury from an accident. When working, your first line of defense against injury is wearing proper clothing for the job. Proper clothing includes heavy work shoes, long pants, safety glasses, and hearing protection. Depending on the work you are doing and the procedures at your golf course, you may also want to wear a long-sleeve shirt, sunscreen, and work gloves. Always start with a walk-around inspection before mowing. Make sure hardware is tight and guards and shields are in place and in good condition. Look under the machine and check for oil, fuel, or coolant leaks. Make sure all warning decals are readable. Tell your golf course technician or equipment manager if there are any missing or damaged decals. Inspect the cutting units to make sure they are in good shape. Have any damaged, worn, or missing parts repaired or replaced, and make any adjustments before mowing. Check the tire pressure and the condition of the tires. The operator's manual lists the recommended air pressure for each tire. Before starting the engine, open the hood, pull the dipstick, and check the engine oil level to make sure it is between the add and full marks on the dipstick. Check the hydraulic oil level to make sure the level is between the hot and cold marks on the dipstick. Check the hydraulic oil level when the oil is cold. Also check the engine coolant level using the overflow bottle. If the engine is warm, the coolant should be between the indicated lines. If any of these fluid levels are low, top them off or have the service technician do it before you mow. Check the fuel-water separator, which has the red ring floating in the bowl, and drain off any water as needed. Clean any debris in the engine compartment, particularly the air intakes. Check and clean the space between the radiator and the hydraulic cooler. Check the fuel gauge to make sure there's enough diesel fuel to get you through the day. If needed, fill up the tank. Next, climb aboard, fasten your seat belt, start the engine, and check the brakes. Again, have any problems serviced before mowing. Training is important. If you are new to operating any of these mowers, practice operation in an unobstructed area under direction of a qualified operator before mowing out on the golf course. Your training should also include time operating on slopes, under direction of a qualified operator, to understand how to mow slopes safely and determine what slopes are not safe to mow. All of these mowers have a safety interlock system installed. To start the engine, you must be sitting in the seat. The mow transport switch must be in the transport position, and the park brake switch must be in the engaged position. We recommend that you test these systems before mowing. See your operator's manual for instructions on testing these systems and making sure the machine is running normally. If you find a problem while testing, do not operate the machine and notify your technician or equipment manager. Next, we'll show you how to start and operate the mowers. To start the engine, fasten your seatbelt low and snug. Check that the park brake switch is engaged. and the mow transport switch is in the transport position. On the 7200A, push the throttle lever forward to 1/4 engine speed and turn the key to on, and wait for the operator screen to display on the tech control. Then turn the key to start the engine. Let the engine idle a few minutes to warm up the hydraulic fluid. When you're ready to go, raise the cutting units, move the park brake switch to the right to release the parking brake, and press the forward foot pedal. On the 7400A and 8800A, the auto pedal feature controls your engine and ground speed. The farther you push the pedal, the faster you'll go. To go backwards, look behind you and slowly press the reverse pedal. When you take your foot off the pedals, the machine will slow to a stop. On slopes, you may also need to use the brake to stop the machine. To transport out to mow, raise the cutting units and press the forward foot pedal. When transporting, use the cart paths when possible. Always transport at a slow and easy speed. Do not drive or mow over ground where traction or stability might be an issue. If you have to move off the cart path, proceed slowly and avoid rough ground. Be careful when transporting on or crossing roadways, and never allow riders. Use extreme caution when transporting or operating on slopes. Mow and transport straight up slopes, not across. Avoid quick stops and reduce your speed if the grass is wet, which increases the danger of mowing slopes. When you arrive at the mowing site, stop on level ground, lower the cutting units, set the park brake, turn off the engine, and exit the machine. Inspect the area you are mowing to identify any areas that might be unsafe to mow. Also remove any sticks, stones, or other debris that could damage the cutting units or ruin the quality of cut. Look for any drop-offs into bunkers or bodies of water, as well as any embankments or slopes. These areas may not be safe to mow. Always consider topography and turf conditions when deciding what areas are safe to mow. Plan your mowing pattern to avoid any unsafe areas. Slow your speed when mowing around unsafe areas. Slopes are a major factor related to loss of control and tip-over accidents, which can result in severe injury or death. When you are ready to mow, climb aboard and fasten your seatbelt. Start the engine and raise the cutting units. Push the yellow mow transport switch to the mow position. Release the brake. Then push the lift lower lever forward and begin mowing. Plan and follow the most efficient path when mowing. These areas typically have a variety of obstacles to mow around and varying terrain. To maintain safe control of the machine and to avoid damaging the turf, always make slow, gradual turns. When mowing, stay away from drop-offs and bunkers. With the 7200A and 7400A, extend the deck out to trim around drop-offs and bunkers. Stay alert for people entering the mowing area. Always mow at safe speeds. Mowing too fast can be dangerous and will result in a poor quality of cut. The LoadMatch feature allows your supervisor to preset your mowing speed. Once set, LoadMatch automatically slows the machine when mowing taller grass to improve the quality of cut. Check with your supervisor before you mow to verify that the LoadMatch feature is engaged. Remember, use caution when mowing around bunkers, water features, ledges, or embankments. Make sure the ground is not too wet, soft, slippery, or unstable. Use caution when mowing slopes. Mow straight up and down slopes, not across. Keep all movements slow and gradual, and avoid starting, stopping, or turning on slopes. Do not mow slopes when the grass is wet. As you mow, watch the quality of cut to make sure the mower is cutting correctly. Also, pay attention to the machine and how it operates. In particular, watch for hydraulic leaks. Hot hydraulic oil will kill the grass. If you see a leak, stop mowing and transport to an area off the grass. Turn off the engine and contact your supervisor or technician. When you're done mowing, transport back to the maintenance area to do some end-of-day maintenance. Stop safely on level ground. Set the parking brake. Lower the cutting units. Let the engine idle for a short time to cool. Then turn the engine off and remove the key from the ignition. After the engine has cooled, open the hood and use low-pressure compressed air to clean the radiator screen, and hydraulic oil cooler. Blow parallel to the fins to prevent damage. Damaged fins can reduce the cooling efficiency of the radiator. Also, blow away any grass that is collected on the machine. Over time, decaying grass can damage components and paint. Use low-pressure water to wash the cutting units. A high-pressure power washer could force grease out of the bearings and actually damage some parts. Do not spray cold water on a hot engine block. After washing, grease the rollers and caster wheels on the cutting units. It's also a good idea to refuel at the end of each day. Fill the tank with fresh diesel fuel. See the operator's manual for more information on fueling safety. And be sure to read the safety section of the operator's manual before you mow with the 7200A, 7400A, or 8800A. With proper operation and regular maintenance using genuine John Deere parts and lubricants, you'll get years of service from your investment. Remember, the information provided here is only an overview. Be sure to read the operator's manual before operating, servicing, or making any adjustments to the 7200A, 7400A, and 8800A mowers. And most important, always think safety when operating or maintaining any machine. If you have any questions or problems, be sure to contact your local John Deere dealer.